Chapter 1. The Silent Language of Attraction. If a woman likes you, she's almost never going to walk right up, look you in the eye, and say, "I want you." In a perfect world, dating would be that simple, but that's just not how female psychology or social attraction works. For most women, being that blunt feels far too risky. It puts them in a vulnerable position where they could face immediate rejection. Instead of taking that leap, she's going to test the waters first. She's going to send out a series of tiny, subtle probes, little behaviors designed to see how you respond before she reveals her true feelings. Most men walk right past these signals because they're looking for a shout when they should be listening for a whisper. Attraction rarely announces itself with a megaphone. It reveals itself through a shift in energy and small, intentional movements. As a woman, I'm going to give it to you straight. We are socialized to be the selectors, which means we show interest quietly and wait for the man to lead. We aren't being difficult or mysterious just for the sake of it. We are checking to see if you are observant enough to notice the invitation we're extending. If you're waiting for a verbal confession, you're going to be waiting forever. You have to learn to read the room and the body language. In this video, I'm pulling back and revealing the 7 subtle signals women use to show they are genuinely attracted to you. The specific things they will almost never admit to doing, but that tell you exactly where you stand. Chapter 2. The Logic of Physical Proximity. Most men completely misunderstand the first and arguably strongest signal, the casual touch. When a woman brushes your arm during a conversation or reaches over to fix your collar, your brain probably tells you it was an accident or a motherly gesture. You might think she's just being helpful because your shirt was messy, or she's just high energy. But here is the cold, hard reality of female nature. A woman's personal space is a fortress. When we feel nothing for a man, if we're neutral, indifferent, or uninterested, we maintain a very clear, very strict physical boundary. We don't casually break that space. We don't accidentally touch the hand or shoulder of someone we don't want to be close to. If she finds an excuse to enter your bubble, it is a massive green light. Whether she's laughing at your joke and lightly tapping your forearm or checking the fabric of your jacket, she is doing 2 things simultaneously. First, she is satisfying her own subconscious urge to be physically close to you because she feels chemistry. Second, and more importantly, she is testing your reaction. She wants to see what happens to your energy the moment she touches you. Do you freeze up and get awkward? Do you pull away like you're uncomfortable? Or do you stay relaxed, grounded, and confident? That small touch is her way of asking, "Are you ready for this connection?" without saying a single word. If she's breaking the touch barrier, she isn't just being friendly. She's inviting you to step up. Chapter 3. The Power of Eye Contact. Sometimes the loudest signal of all happens in total heavy silence. In a standard, everyday conversation, the kind you have with a coworker, a cashier, or a casual acquaintance, people usually follow a very predictable rhythm of looking at each other and then looking away. We do this instinctively to keep the interaction comfortable and to prevent things from feeling too intense or confrontational. It's a social safety net. But the second genuine attraction enters the room, those polite social rules are thrown right out the window. If a woman is truly drawn to you, her gaze is going to linger on yours for just a few seconds longer than what is considered normal. We're talking about 3, 4, or maybe even 5 seconds of pure, concentrated, and undivided attention. This isn't just a glance. It's a deliberate hold that signals she is fully locked into you and nobody else. That extra beat of time, that tiny prolonged moment where neither of you is speaking, creates a sudden surge of intimacy that words simply cannot touch. It's a psychological bridge. In those few seconds, a massive amount of information is being exchanged without a single syllable being dropped. She is effectively saying, "I see you and I'm interested in what I'm seeing." Most men, however, are completely unprepared for this level of intensity. Because that extra long eye contact feels so powerful and heavy, many men get hit with a wave of nervous energy. Their heart rate spikes, they get a little flustered, and their immediate instinct is to look down at their drink or glance away to break the tension. They think they're being polite or playing it cool, but in reality, they are accidentally killing the momentum and shutting down the connection right as it's getting started. The move you need to make in this moment is actually incredibly simple, yet it requires real presence. Stay calm, hold her gaze naturally, and absolutely do not retreat. You don't need to stare her down like you're trying to win a competition or be intimidating. You just need to be comfortable enough to stay in that space with her. When you hold that gaze for those extra seconds, you are communicating a high level of emotional confidence. You're showing her that you aren't intimidated by her interest or the chemistry growing between you. This is the exact moment where the atmosphere in the room shifts from just talking to something that feels electric. By not breaking the look, you're giving her the green light to keep going. That quiet, unwavering connection is the foundation of real tension, and it's often the spark that turns a friendly conversation into a memorable one. Chapter 4: The Lean and the Tone. Long before a woman ever reaches out to touch your arm or adjust your collar, the physical gap between the two of you will begin to vanish. This is one of the most reliable indicators of attraction because it is almost entirely subconscious. We all have an invisible bubble known as personal space, and under normal circumstances, we guard that bubble fiercely. We keep coworkers, strangers, and casual acquaintances at a polite arm's length. However, the moment a woman feels a genuine pull toward you, her brain sends a signal to her body to close that gap. You'll notice her shoulders slowly square up to yours, even if the room is crowded. She isn't just standing near you, she is orienting her entire physical presence toward you, creating a private island for the two to pay close attention to the lean. If you're sitting at a table or standing in a loud bar, she won't just lean in because she can't hear you. She'll lean in because she wants to be inside your energy. It's a subtle shift of weight, a slight tilt of the head, and a gradual closing of the distance until the air between you feels thin. This movement is an instinctive search for intimacy. When we are interested in someone, we naturally want to experience them more clearly. We want to hear the nuances of their voice and feel the warmth of their presence. If you notice that she is consistently moving into your space rather than pulling back, she is giving you a massive nonverbal yes. She is signaling that she feels safe, comfortable, and deeply curious about who you are. But the physical shift is only half of the equation. To truly understand what's happening, you have to stop just listening to her words and start listening to her tone. The human voice is a direct window into the nervous system. When a woman is neutral or uninterested, her voice stays in a social register. It's professional, upbeat, or perhaps a bit flat. But when she feels chemistry, her voice will often undergo a dramatic transformation. It becomes softer, slower, and carries a perceptible warmth. It's almost as if she's dropped the volume so that only you can hear her, even if you're in a public place. This intimate register is a biological response to feeling intrigued and relaxed. It's the sound of her letting her guard down. The smoking gun of attraction is the contrast in her delivery. Watch how she speaks to a waiter, a friend, or a colleague, and then notice how she speaks to you. If her voice becomes gentler, more melodic, or slightly lower in pitch when she turns her attention back to you, it's not a coincidence. It's a confession. She has subconsciously shifted you out of the general public category and into a private, personal category. She is creating an auditory secret between the two of you. Most men miss this because they are too busy worrying about what to say next. But if you can learn to hear the change in her frequency, you'll realize she's been telling you she likes you the entire time without ever having to say the words. Chapter 5: Laughter and Lighter Energy. Laughter is far more than just a reaction to a funny joke. It is a psychological bridge that connects two people on an emotional level. When a woman is genuinely attracted to you, something fascinating happens to her perception. Your average jokes, the ones that might only get a polite smile from a stranger, suddenly become the highlight of the conversation. You haven't magically transformed into a world-class stand-up comedian overnight, and you haven't suddenly developed a genius-level wit. What has actually happened is that her attraction to you is acting like a filter, amplifying her positive emotions and making every interaction feel more enjoyable. When we like someone, our brain releases dopamine, which lowers our laughter threshold. This means she will laugh more frequently, smile more broadly, and react with genuine enthusiasm to small observations that other people in the room might not even notice. This influx of laughter serves a very specific purpose in the dance of attraction. It creates a light, positive, and safe atmosphere. Laughter is a biological signal that says, "I am relaxed, I am enjoying myself, and I feel comfortable in your presence." It's her way of subconsciously telling you that the barriers are down. As a woman, I can tell you that when we're into a guy, we want the interaction to be fun. We are looking for that spark, and laughter is the fuel for that fire. You might notice she giggles at your dry comments, or she keeps a playful smile on her face, even when you aren't saying anything particularly funny. She is essentially leaning into the fun version of the reality you are creating together. If she's finding reasons to laugh, she's finding reasons to stay near you. The biggest mistake most men make during this stage is overanalyzing the moment or becoming way too serious. Some men feel the need to pivot into deep or heavy topics too quickly because they think that's how you build a real connection, or they get stuck in their own heads trying to be impressive and intellectual. When you do this, you accidentally suck the oxygen out of the room. You kill the playful momentum and turn a fun, electric interaction into a formal interview. If she is giving you that lighter energy, Your only job is to mirror it and keep it going. Don't worry about being profound or logical in that moment. Instead, keep the energy relaxed and let the conversation flow naturally. When the laughter is flowing, the emotional walls are melting away, which is exactly where real attraction begins to take root and grow. Think of laughter as the lubricant for the entire interaction. It makes the transition from strangers to something more feel effortless and smooth. If you can make her laugh, you are effectively winning her trust and her attention at the same time. The more she enjoys the way she feels when she's around you, the more she's going to want to be around you. So, don't kill the vibe by getting caught up in the details. Stay in the fun, stay in the moment, and let the connection build itself through that shared, lighthearted energy. Chapter 6, Subconscious Grooming. If you want to know what a woman is truly thinking, stop listening to her words for a moment and start watching her hands. This is where the real story is told. When a woman is in the presence of a man she finds genuinely interesting or attractive, her brain shifts into a state of heightened awareness. She becomes hyper-conscious of how she is presenting herself to you, and that internal spike in energy has to go somewhere. This leads to what psychologists call subconscious grooming behaviors. These aren't rehearsed movements or calculated strategies designed to get your attention. They are automatic, reflexive outlets for the nervous excitement and the butterflies she is feeling in that exact moment. It's a biological urge to ensure she looks her best because, on a deep, primal level, she is already starting to care about how you perceive her. The most common and obvious version of this is when she starts playing with her hair. You might see her tuck a stray strand behind her ear while she's listening to you speak, or she might begin twirling a lock of hair around her finger while she's telling you a story. Sometimes it's as simple as her smoothing it down or tossing it over her shoulder to expose her neck, which is a major sign of trust and comfort. But it doesn't stop at the hair. Watch for other micro-adjustments like her straightening her jewelry, smoothing out a wrinkle in her skirt, or adjusting the strap of her top. These tiny repetitive actions are her way of managing the static electricity of the attraction. Her nervous system is a little bit overcharged because of your presence, and these grooming habits are the pressure release valve. As a woman, I can tell you that we are often completely unaware we are doing this. It's almost like a check-in with our own physical self. We want to feel put together because you have officially become someone whose opinion matters. If you see her repeatedly fixing her appearance while she is maintaining eye contact and giving you those warm, genuine smiles we talked about earlier, you aren't just seeing a fidgety person, you are seeing a pattern of deep, genuine interest. She isn't doing it because she's bored. She's doing it because she's invested. She's essentially preening for you, much like you'd see in the natural world, signaling that she values the connection and wants to remain attractive in your eyes. The key here is to look for the frequency. If she adjusts her necklace once, it might just be itchy. But if she is constantly touching her hair, adjusting her sleeves, and checking her reflection in a window or her phone while she's with you, she is in attraction mode. Most men miss this because they think she's just being vain or distracted, but the truth is actually the opposite. She is incredibly focused on you, and she's trying to make sure that what you see is the best version of her. When you notice this happening, don't point it out or make her feel self-conscious. That will kill the vibe. Instead, take it as the ultimate compliment. It's a silent confession that you have her full attention and that she's already working, quite literally, to keep yours. Chapter 7, Emotional Investment Through Curiosity. The final and perhaps most telling signal of genuine attraction has nothing to do with how she moves her body or where she looks. It's about the specific way she uses her curiosity. When a woman is truly interested in you, she will eventually get tired of the surface-level small talk that defines most boring everyday interactions. She doesn't want to talk about the weather or your commute anymore. She wants to dig deeper. This is the moment the conversation shifts from a casual exchange to a real emotional investment. When she starts asking you about your long-term goals, your childhood memories, or the things that actually drive you to get out of bed in the morning, she is moving from being a casual observer to an active investor in your life. She isn't just killing time. She's performing a deep dive to see if the man standing in front of her is someone she can truly connect with on a meaningful level. You have to understand that personal questions are the currency of emotional investment. Most people are busy and protective of their time, so we don't waste energy trying to understand the inner workings of people we don't care about. If she is asking you why you chose your career path, what your biggest passion is, or even what your type is, she is trying to peel back the layers of your public persona to find the real man behind the mask. She is looking for a deeper fit. She wants to know if your values align with hers and if your personality has the depth she's looking for. This is a high-level signal of attraction because it shows she is already projecting a potential future and trying to see where you might fit into it. She is gathering data, not just for the sake of conversation, but because she is genuinely curious about the why behind who you are. This is where so many men accidentally clears throat, drop the ball, and kill the momentum. When a man gets asked a personal question, he often gives a short, one-word or dismissive answer because he's afraid of talking too much or sounding uncool. But by doing that, you are effectively closing the door she just tried to open. If she asks about your dreams and you just say, "Oh, I just want to be successful," you've given her nothing to work with. You've signaled that you're either not self-aware or that you're not willing to let her in. To keep the attraction growing, you need to lean into that curiosity. Share your story with some detail and passion. Let her see a glimpse of your ambition or your history. This doesn't mean you should give a 2-hour lecture, but it does mean you should give her enough hooks so she can stay engaged and keep the conversation moving forward. The real magic happens when you return that curiosity. After you've answered her question, pivot back and ask her something just as meaningful. When two people stop just talking at each other and start becoming genuinely curious about the other person's world, the dynamic of the interaction changes completely. It stops being a standard chat or a polite social obligation and starts becoming the foundation of a real relationship. Curiosity is the bridge that leads to intimacy. It shows her that you are just as invested in her as she is in you. When you both start exploring each other's thoughts, opinions, and experiences, you create a unique bond that sets you apart from every other guy she's talked to that week. Remember, a woman who isn't interested won't ask questions. A woman who is attracted will never stop wanting to know more. Chapter 8. The Verdict. Look for the pattern. Here's the absolute most critical takeaway from everything we've discussed. A single signal in total isolation might not mean anything at all. In the real world, human behavior is messy and context is everything. Sometimes a woman touches her hair simply because it's falling into her eyes, or it's a nervous habit she has with everyone. Sometimes she laughs at your joke because the joke was actually objectively funny, or she maintains eye contact because she was raised to be exceptionally polite. If you hyper-focus on just one of these behaviors, you're going to end up overthinking every interaction and potentially misreading the situation. You'll find yourself wondering, did she tuck her hair because she likes me, or is it just windy? This kind of second guessing is exactly what kills your natural confidence and makes you act stiff or awkward. To truly understand attraction, you have to stop looking at individual moments and start looking for the pattern. Think of it like a puzzle. One piece doesn't tell you much, but when you start snapping them together, the prolonged eye contact, the way she consistently leans into your personal space, the frequent laughter at your smallest comments, and that unmistakable casual touch on your arm, the overall picture becomes undeniable. When these behaviors cluster together in a single conversation, it's no longer a coincidence. It is a biological and psychological symphony of interest. You are seeing a woman who is subconsciously trying to get closer to you, engage with you, and signal that she is open to whatever happens next. This clustering of signals is the only real proof you need that the chemistry is real. It is also vital to remember that attraction is a green light for connection, not a finish line. Many men make the mistake of thinking that once they've spotted the signs, they've won, or they need to suddenly become aggressive to seal the deal. That is the fastest way to blow your progress. Seeing these signals simply means you have permission to keep going, to stay in the moment, and to let things escalate naturally. You don't need to do anything drastic. You just need to be present. When you are present, you aren't stuck in your head worrying about the future or analyzing the past. You're right there with her, noticing the shifts in her energy, and responding with your own grounded confidence. You're creating a loop where she sends a signal, you acknowledge it with your presence, and she feels safe enough to send an even stronger signal. At the end of the day, the man who is observant enough to notice these subtle signals is almost always the man that women notice back. Why? Because most men are completely oblivious. By being the guy who gets it, the guy who can read the room and understand the silent language of attraction, you immediately separate yourself from the crowd. You stop being the guy who tries too hard and start being the guy who just flows with the energy of the interaction. So, from now on, I want you to stop looking for a confession and start looking for the patterns. Stay grounded, keep your eyes open, and let the connection develop at its own pace. When you know what to look for, the game of dating stops being a mystery and starts being a lot more fun. Now I want to hear from you. Looking back at your past conversations, which of these 7 signals have you been missing the most? Let me know in the comments below.